What about, I mean, it's a different type of animal, but Sonja's going out on her cabriolet tour. Have you given Miss Morgan
I
any
don't think
advice?
it's cabaret. I think she's doing more comedy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's comedy.
right. Well, let's face it, Sonja is hysterical. So I think this is right up her alley. And listen, there's room for everybody. I'm not that kind of girl. I'm a supportive friend, and and I support Sonja, and I just wish her the best.
What advice would you give her on this tour? Just being on the road, like, this is old news for you now. You're a pro at it.
Well, my best advice probably be don't drink before you get on stage. I never do, but I don't, I don't know what Sonja's up to, but that, and just be yourself. And that's what people come to see, is they come to see me. They come to see, what songs I'm going to sing, and what stories I'm going to tell. They come prepared with questions that they want to ask me, because I do a Q&A. And so I think just being you, and that's also true on the Housewives. I think if you come with an agenda, that it's a different experience. I think that people come to love people that are really themselves, because the camera doesn't lie, and the audience doesn't lie. So I think that it's important to do you, and enjoy it. And that's the whole point, is really to enjoy what you're doing. And if you're not enjoying it, then it's probably not a good idea.
Totally. Well, listen, you have been keeping the masses entertained on Ultimate Girls Trip, first on Peacock, and now it's having a whole second life on Bravo.
I know, which is great, which is awesome.
From someone who knows you, like I've known you for years now, like, look, your relationship with Ramona, we've seen for 13 seasons, has been up and down, right? Knowing you, like, it seemed that when she started going into the past and relationships and bringing, like, you seemed really upset, like, knowing you, even as a viewer, but just knowing you seemed really upset.
Well, I was upset because, sometimes Ramona has a way of putting her foot in her mouth, and it was kind of great to see that how the other women reacted to her, because I'm kind of used to Ramona's antics, and to have the other women see her in her Ramona mode, or Ramona isms, was kind of fun. I was like, where's the popcorn? I mean, this is kind of fun to watch Ramona being watched by the other ladies, and then, kind of realizing that, Ramona is quite a character, and they're like, well, how do you deal with this? I'm like, well, I've been dealing with it for a long time. Listen, Ramona she's a character. She truly does have a heart of gold in there. And, I just saw Ramona not long ago in Florida, and we got through it. We had our moments. And I think I handled it pretty well. And I think she understood, and I hope she grows from it.
Has, like, it changed your relationship in any way, like positive, negative, or is it
no, I think it changed our relationship in a positive way.
That's good.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of things that were kind of buried that we never really talked about. And I think it came up on the girls' trip, and I thought that it was great to deal with it, and and bury the hatchet and move on.
Well, like you say, these other women get to go home to their cities, and you have to come home and see Ramona. So
right.
It exactly. Is. What was it like being there with Teresa? Like, because it was right when she kind of started first dating Louis. Like, was Teresa as smitten as we all?
Teresa was, totally, smitten and in love and living her best moments. And, I love that. I love to see people in love. It's such a beautiful thing to watch. There's nothing like the very beginning. And so I was really happy for her. And I think everybody else was too. Poor Kenya was going through a divorce, and and she's all gaga with Louis, and I at that point was just very happy doing my thing, and being alone, because I'd rather be alone than be in bad company. And so but I'm sure that day will come for me, and and again, timing is everything in life. And for Teresa, it came when she least expected it, and he just appeared in her life. And listen, I've had great loves in my life, and I've been very lucky in terms, for the most part, with men. And so, I think, there will be a day where I'll have that relationship again, because I do love being in a relationship.
And you're single these days, Luann?
I am single for the moment, darling.
Okay. Well, this summer when you and I are both in Sag Harbor, maybe you find someone for me, I'll find someone for
Oh,
you.
perfect. I love that. I love that. You'll come over for some Fosé.
I'm going to be right down the street. But speaking of the Fosé, congratulations. I mean, it's like, I know Lindsay and Carl from Summer House were just on Watch What Happens recently, and they mentioned that they're avid drinkers of it. So like, this is a real thing.
No, I love it. I'm very proud of Fosé. You know, I made it during the pandemic, you know, when I was on the wagon and not drinking, and I needed something. It was born out of necessity. My daughter and I couldn't find anything we wanted to drink. And so that's how Fosé was born. And it's filled with beautiful ingredients, you know, oak and vanilla and natural tannins and grape and vanilla. Damiana, which is good for your nerves, and rosemary. It's really delicious. So it's not a wine that we're taking the alcohol out of. We're actually building it from the ground up to kind of mimic rosé, and it's really delicious. You know, the proof is in the pudding. We sold like over 20,000 bottles in the first couple of months. I just got distribution, so I'm really thrilled about that. You know, and people love it. So I couldn't be happier. You know, Andy Cohen tasted, he was like, this is so good. So I'm really proud of it. And I, you know, now I can really start, you know, promoting it, and because I've got distribution, and I'm going to have a Fosé party in the Hamptons. So you will definitely come. And I'm super excited to have distribution, because obviously that's a big part of it. But you can get it on drinkfosé.com, because that's where people have been buying it for the moment. But you know, the reaction to people, like, you know, people know about the cabaret, but once you come to the cabaret and you actually see it, you go, oh, this is good. And that's the same thing that's happening with the Fosé. You know, it's a really good product, and it's low calorie, darling, and it looks just like rosé. If you pour it into a glass, it could be sitting in a vat filled with bottles of other rosés, and you're drinking right along with everybody else. So
Wow.
Tried to take a little bit that stigma away of not drinking. So that's what I will be drinking moving forward, darling.
You're going to turn to your own Fosé or focus on
Well,
that?
I have been drinking my Fosé. I mean, you know, literally this just happened. I mean, I've been sober for a while. And so, you know, it happens, you know, people fall off the wagon and they get right back on. So I'm glad that I have this as a go-to for myself to drink. And I'm glad that it's out there for the world to drink, because it really is delicious and very good.
Did you get advice from anyone? Like, you look at like Kyle Cook and Amanda, like with Loverboy. I mean, we all know Bethany with Skinny Girl, like, or did you just teach yourself like distribution in the beverage industry?